Okay, it's 11:05, so I think we can formally start the meeting. So, good morning, good night to you all. Apalagi yang di Indo udah jam 11 malam. Thank you all for coming in to our second workshop series sama OrgDev. So today kita bakas topiknya board transitions. I know a lot of your permiases udah ini seasonnya untuk move on ke new board, and based on our last feedback, baik banget yang sort of want to discuss and bring this topic. Jadi, in terms of rundown acara, kita pertama mau speak about board transitions and feedback yang kita dapat dari kalian semua, and then the OrgDev team will present dari Violin, Hanif, and as well as Imelda on multiple suggestions that can be implemented in your teams. And then from that, we also have 9 new team members di PERMIAS Nasional, yaitu koordinator wilayah kalian semua. So we wanted to formally introduce you guys to koordinator wilayah. So if you guys have any concerns or anything you want to communicate, bisa langsung ke mereka semua. If you don't get langsung bisa kontak ke PERMIAS Nasional. And then selain itu, last but not least, we will have like introduction for our CEO team. Dari kepalanya di Bernard, he's right there. And that's more of like our outreach department, and then we can have a sharing session and Q&A. So I think one of the things that we like to do is like, please introduce yourself in the chat box. Jadi kalau misalnya what we found from last time itu banyak yang sort of reach out to one another for collaborations, atau misalnya kayak talk to one another about problems. So formatnya nama, sekolah, jurusan, dan permias cabang. Okay, I'll share screen and then we'll get on to the presentation. Okay. All right. Can you guys see the presentation?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So, okay. So we have our team, organizational development. Aku sama Pierre, co-director. You wanna say hi, Bang?
Hai semuanya.
Okay, and then di tim kita ada Arik, Violin, Hanif, Imel, who are gonna present. I mean, Arik sama Bang Billy sama Koro nggak di sini. So take it away, Violin.
All right, so for today's board transition workshop, kita bakal ngomongin not only like transition phase after recruitment, but from like everything starting from pre-recruitment, during recruitment, and then after recruitment as well. So we can just start with pre-recruitment. All right, so with pre-recruitment, I think the most like important stuff regarding it is like regarding marketing and also like familiarizing your open positions to potential candidates. And we've basically come up with a few ideas as to how you can really do your pre-recruitment marketing. And so some of them are like pretty logical, but we can just like explain them either way. So the first would be we encourage you guys to host info sessions, and this is basically an introduction and explanation of all open positions, and then also a time for you guys to explain like your application or recruitment process and also schedule and timeline. This is also a good way to have like a Q&A session regarding like whether or not potential candidates have questions for you guys. And then we really encourage like having like a breakout room during your info sessions. Jadi this is a good way for each and every potential candidates or interested people to talk with people of your board and try to ask like more personal questions. This is also a good way for you guys to assess like potential candidates as well. And we suggest that you guys have like at least 2 info sessions on 2 different days, because probably not everyone can attend like on the same day. And then moving on something like more technical would be like doing an Insta live regarding like all the positions as well. So for example, like in the club that I was in dulu, what we did was each current officers can take like the Instagram live on different days. So for example, I can take Instagram live to talk about my position on Monday, and then Michelle can talk about hers on Tuesday and such. And to this is like a a way to explain the positions in a more natural setting, and you can also answer questions in the comment section. And the reason behind this is also because I think Indonesians love Instagram, and like you guys can really utilize this to promote the open positions that you guys have. And lastly would be coffee chats. Maybe this is not something that's really important or have been done a lot, but coffee chats is really great for you to have like for the potential candidates to have a chance to have like one-on-one conversations with the current officers, and also for the current officers to like assess them as well. And the technicals behind this is just you can use like Calendly, and you can just compile everyone's bio in like a Google Doc and with their Calendly links, and then like link that to your website or your link tree. And one thing that's also really important with coffee chats is to create like a review form regarding all of the people that you coffee chatted, so that you can remember again what they were like and assess them again like in the future. And then before all else, what's important is to make sure all of your links to like the application forms, to info sessions and coffee chats are all already available on your Linktree and website. So when you have all of these things, they're already ready for them to access like any time during the day or the week or the recruitment process. Next. All right, so these are like other suggestions that we have. They're very flexible to whether or not you think they're things you want to implement. So the first would be to promote to your current board members before the recruitment phase even starts. And this is especially important for like executive roles, as we suggest like to have at least 1 year experience in the board before running for an executive role. And this is better because like they know the drill, and it's going to be an easier transition on your end as well. Secondly, would be volunteering opportunities for potential candidates. So you could ask candidates to volunteer for your events before the recruitment phase, so that they know like what is expected of them, and you can also assess like their capabilities to like run an event. And then lastly would be cross promotions for overlapping chapters. So considering that there are a lot of overlapping PERMIAS chapters, like for example, PERMIAS LA is like, there's like also UCLA, LMU, and USC under it. You guys can do cross promotions to help like promote your open positions to neighboring social media platforms. Lastly would be like a mentorship phase for president. This is very flexible to whether or not you want to implement that, but we would suggest like at least 2 weeks, especially when like the president has no prior experience whatsoever in the PERMIAS chapter board. All right, so moving on, this is like the more technical stuff, is the application process. So with the application process, I think like the most easy way that you can really try to get to know your applicants is through like the resume and also the essay portion. So with the resume, basically you're just looking for hints as to like what are their skills, their past experiences, their leadership and teamwork abilities, and also like their technical skills. And this can really help you identify whether or not they're going to be a great candidate. And then for the essay, you could really just ask 2 types of questions. The first being like, why do they want to be a part of your PERMIAS chapter? And then the second being like, why do they think they fit the position that they're applying for? And the reasons for this question is that, for the first one is that it showcases the passion that they have for the organization, and it also tests like their knowledge regarding the organization. And then this will help again like show how much they've committed to the recruitment process by like trying to read and identify like how much they actually know about your PERMIAS chapter. And then for the second question, like why they fit the position, the reason behind this is that it really showcases their skills that aren't highlighted in their resume and that they actually want to highlight, and also like helps portray like their knowledge regarding the position that they're applying for. So you can really tell like whether or not they really understand what they're like expected to do with the position that they're applying for. Next. All right, so here's deliberations, which I think is like the most important part as well. So the thing with deliberations is that we really highly suggest doing like a non-biased application process, I think this isn't really the most like encouraged a lot of the times in Indonesia, but non-biased application process is one in which you really try to cover all the names and identity indicators of a person or like an applicant. So like when you get the resume, if it's possible, try to erase like any like identity indicators, mainly their name. And so with that, you could really use like an Excel grading rubric or any types of grading rubrics to really help you give points and like use a point system as to like how you're gonna grade like their resume and their essays. So here below, like I listed out like an example of like a grading rubric that you might be able to use. And so with like the resume, for example, if they showcase like leadership or teamwork, in the past, that you could give like 10 points. Obviously, like one being like that they do not have teamwork or leadership, and 10 being like they really do. And then it's the same with like the essay 1 and essay 2. I've already like listed out other points that you guys can also look at later on.
Moving on to the next step is the recruitment process. If you're having a big community and quite like a lot of applicants, we encourage you to have a group assignment. Like the idea is assign applicants into groups randomly, and if possible, put them like in a different group with their own friends. Like the purpose on this is to get the sense like how they work outside their comfort zone with new friends, new environments. How can they engage with any kind of situations? So make it like an actual organization with like a minimum of president, VP, treasurer, and secretary. The task given to them could be anything. So like this is just an example, like giving a whole 1 week to do fundraising. You can do any kind of fundraising, can be food fundraising or internal sports games or events or anything. So for the current board, you are welcome to jump into their meeting and the process on preparing the fundraising or the event itself. As the current board, you are encouraged to guide them, like if they have any questions or problem, and as the applicants, we highly recommend you to ask questions, but also explore what you can do on your position. These assignments will train the applicants on how to work in a real organization, how to manage the stress, but at the same time gain the experience and the fun too. Moving on to the next step is the speech process. Starting with the speech itself, the idea is like to introduce the applicants to the Indonesian community of their like upcoming board, something like a campaign. So the applicants are recommended to invite as many Indo people to come and support them. And then the next step after speech is the open Q&A session. The questions like must a minimum come from the current board, like give them a case questions and ask them to answer it that time. Also, the Q&A can come from the audiences. So like the question tuh nggak harus always serious, can be something fun. In my experience waktu itu, so I went to Indo Divisi, can I apply for a PR? I was requested to invite this one person to come to the semester dinner, but I try to interest the person to come to the semedi. Jadi kayak itu dibikin iseng-iseng gitu kayak. So since like I'm a girl and he's a guy, kayak yeah, it's something fun gitu. It's kind of like break the situation yang tadinya tegang because of the speech. And then Shell back, boleh nggak Shell? Masih back.
One sec.
Belum, Jen. Balik ke slide sebelumnya. Yang itu Shell yang speech, the speech process. Okay, so in the speech process tuh at the same time juga ada voting. Voting is not only allowed to those who is only allowed to those yang come to the speech day. My experience that like we create a group chat for those who come and we share the link. However, like the voting is not a big part on the selection process itself. Next after the speech process is the interview process. 2 types of questions that you should ask is the behavioral and at the same time technical questions. Next. Shall ask them like about themselves, the applicants, their strength, weakness, questions about their group assignment. You can from there you can get the information on which applicants has the potential to become the officer, and make sure the people that apply have the commitment when they got accepted. Also try to ask how did they manage to solve the problem during the assignment. If possible, ask recommendation and what to improve from this year's board. Finally, it's the deliberation process. On the selecting process itself, it is recommended that have all the board meeting all together to discuss who is the most suitable candidate. Try to get as many as information about the applicants before the meeting. Can be like from word of mouth, from the interview process or the group assignment process, and try to analyze all the information. Try to make an objective judgment, leadership, through the leadership responsibility and skill, also their commitment. On the announcement, it is great if you guys can have an official announcement through email or maybe just message. If they got accepted, say congrats and give feedbacks to them. But if they don't get accepted, try to give feedback, but that doesn't hurt their feelings. So like try to encourage them to try apply again next year, or maybe like try to apply to another clubs. Then after you announce them, try to have something like a celebrations with like professional board photos, having a potluck. So like having like a little bit of chit chat, also time to kind of like officially hand over the job, try to make it fun. For example, like handing over a real folder, like from the new president to from the old president to the new president. Try to make it fun, so like they also enjoy joining the organization.
All right. Next, we have post recruitment. So basically, you have recruited your new boards, and that's great, but your job's not done yet. So the first important thing to keep in mind is information transfer. The first one is social media accounts like Instagram, email, etc. And this is important because this is what the new boards will use to reach out to the new members or to the public. So, and we have cases where like the Facebook page of several chapters were not transferred and had to be traced back. So kita harus cari kontak yang jadi adminnya from like 2 or 3 years ago. So that will be a problem. So yeah, make sure that you have that covered. And the next is strategic contents and also partnership from prior boards. So especially your contact with the embassy and also with PERMIAS Nasional. So please make sure you introduce the new boards and have the new boards introduce or have the new boards introduce themselves to a representative from the embassy and also to us. And that sometimes happen. I mean, we contact people who have already graduated or went back home, and it would be just a handful to cari kontak lagi who is in charge right now. So that would be troublesome. So you can directly contact us, the org dev team, or through our great core wheels who we are going to introduce later on. So they are great people and they are here. They are here for you. So make sure you put those guys to work. And then the next one is the past events or basically every past experience that you had. So I would suggest that the retiring boards would sit down together with the new boards and like over coffee maybe or online most likely and just talk about everything that you experience in Burmias because most likely the new boards will experience the same problem that you had. So it's always good to give a heads up. Next, Shell. Okay, the next one is transfer of funds. This is equally important. So please be sure to transfer any funds from the old boards to the new boards. I know some of you may think, I mean, it's our money. We work hard for to gather this money, but and it's fine. I mean, it's fine to at the end if you want if you like to like celebrate your boards and like have some foods and drinks. But be sure to leave some for the new boards, because I know firsthand it's hard to get an organization going with no money, so it's always good to have some of to start just to start off with. And I think most of our chapters use a personal bank account for the funds. No, still the previous shell. Yeah, I think most of our chapters are using their personal bank accounts, so it might not be necessary to hand over like the whole account, but that would still be one important thing to keep in mind. And be sure to give the new board some pointers of on how to allocate these funds and how the counting system should be managed. Okay, next show. And we highly recommend for the old boards to create some sort of advisory boards for the new boards. It could be just one person, like maybe just the old president, but um, it's always better to have like the whole group for this. And PERMIAS Nasional actually recognize senior advisors as part of the organization structure of the chapters. So it would be great to have advisors. And again, please do have a sharing session between the old and the new boards. And this will be very helpful for the new boards. Next. Okay, and last, please let us know. Please notify us when you have your board transition. That way we can keep up to date with the contact person for each chapters. So that will be the most important thing for us to have contact person in each of our chapters. And one more thing, please announce the new boards on your social media, like your Instagram. The chapter's Instagram or the Facebook page. So that way, if there are any new Indonesian students arriving there or any other person, they can just look up into your chapter's Instagram and know who they should contact. So yeah, please put up your pretty faces out there. Don't be shy. Just let the world know, like, hi, this is our new boards. And maybe, if you're single, who knows, like we do have some like love connection thing, location love. You guys know location love, chin love.
Promosi diri, Das.
Come on, Hanif. Come on, lol.
Yeah, so and at least our president here is also single, so if anyone's interested, he's a doctor and he got great haircut. That's all I know about you, Alvin, so sorry. Yeah. So anyway, single or not single, put up your face out there and let us know who you are and how we can contact you. That's the most important thing.
I think one thing to add to that, jangan lupa untuk the new president and vice president untuk dimasukin ke grup Dewan Perwakilan. Itu aja sih tadi mau aku tambah.
Yes, kita punya platform. Jadi kita platform that we are using right now. We have the group, the WhatsApp group, and also we have the core wheels. So yeah, please make those into use. So with that, thank you. I give it back to you, Shel.
Thank you so much buat Workdev team. What a great job. Amazing presentation. Ini gue kayak give props to my own team because they're amazing. And I feel like kalian juga udah berapa kali ngobrol mungkin sama anyone from the team, dari aku atau Pierre atau Hanif yang dari kemarin pembuatan cabang. But now we have a division within Orgdev which is called Koordinator Wilayah. Karena sekarang kita udah ada tercatat lebih dari 70 cabang-cabang PERMIAS all over the US ya, and we're growing even more. I think in the past like a couple of months kita udah buka cabangnya berapa nih? Exactly more than 5, I think, right? Yeah, over 5. So we're definitely growing and we're getting bigger very quickly. So we have the Koordinator Wilayah for the first people who you can stay in touch to kalau misalnya ada apapun, and they will be the one relaying a lot of the information dari PERMIAS Nasional ke kalian semua. Because we know sometimes Dewan Perwakilan kan it's a bit crowded and you can get lost in the information. So always feel free to reach out to them. And they're all here in the meeting today, and we just wanted to formally introduce them. So I'm going to show the slides of all the Koordinator Wilayah and what locations they're in charge of. and their numbers are also there. So if your pictures are here, please go up and introduce yourself. And for buat Permias cabang, please feel free to also add their numbers. And harusnya kalian udah ada bikin grup per wilayah sendiri. Kalau belum, reach out to me atau koordinator wilayahnya for the group itself if you're not added. Okay. So ini buat East Coast, mungkin Joanna, Latisa, sama dari Joanna dulu kali ya. Atau I don't know if Joanna's here, but I know Latisa is. Maybe you can come up and introduce yourself.
Oh, hi. I'm Latisa. I go to NYU. Yeah, so I'm in charge of East Coast too. If you guys ever need anything, if you're from New York, Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, or Delaware, feel free to contact me. Yeah.
Ade, I think tadi ada deh Ade.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Hi everyone, nama saya Ade, Corwil East Coast 3, which is mencakup Washington DC, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, NC, sama South Carolina. Itu nomor WA saya, jadi kalau mau kontak, mau get in touch di WA, boleh di add. Tapi sebenarnya itu bukan nomor asli saya sih. Nomor saya ada 2 soalnya. Nanti if you guys add me di WA, nanti I'll give you guys my real number.
Put it in the chat. Okay. Kalau mau.
Gimana?
Share
taruh di chat?
Iya.
Oke, bisa.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all. Just call me Ade.
Yeah. Alright. Next ada Harun, Kili, sama Vira. Mau mulai dulu, Harun? Suaranya mute ya?
Sorry.
Iya.
Oke, hai semuanya. Aku Harun dari PERMIAS Michigan, koordinator wilayah Freezing Tundra bagian timur atau Midwest 1 yang mencakup Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, sama Kentucky. Jadi semua wilayah itu aku cover, itu ada nomorku, monggo. Kita udah ada grup, jadi kalau misalnya ada apa-apa di Freezing Tundra bagian timur, bisa chat aja. Thank you.
Kalian kalau mau nambah interesting fact boleh.
Oh, aku tambahin deh. Interesting
Ya,
fact. Aku bisa belajar efektif kalau dengerin didikan pot almarhum.
Keren. Okay. Is Kili here?
Halo, namaku Kili. Aku koordinator wilayah Midwest Region 2. Regionnya itu mencakupi Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, dan Kansas. Sorry kalau agak berisik nih, gue lagi di cafe. Gue dari UIUC, sekarang lagi belajar architecture. And one interesting fact about me, aku suka nastar.
Thank you, Kili. Terus ada Vira.
Hi y'all, I'm Vera. I'm from PERMIAS Austin. Aku koordinator Southwest. Wilayah lingkupku Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Georgia, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Oklahoma. And yeah, if you guys need anything, just reach out. Kita belum punya grup WA right now. I'm still working on it, but I'm hoping to get it launched by the end of next week, and to have a first meeting or whatever. So, interesting fact about me would be that I have a turtle twin, I guess. My dad bought it when my mom gave birth to me. So if we measure his age when we bought him, then he's exactly the same age as me.
Thank you, Vira. Okay, next ada dari West Coast. Ini my home. I think kalau misalnya Savannah, I think she's in a flight. So she's in charge of South California, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Hawaii. And that's her contact number. She's from PEP University. And I think she's also president of PERMIAS PEP. And then ada Michelle sama Chika.
Hi semua, I'm Michelle. I'm from Dianza College. I am the Deputy President of PERMIAS SFPA, and I am currently in charge for West Coast 2, which covers Northern California, Nevada, and Idaho. Tapi for now, I think Nevada and Idaho, so far I've reached out and kayaknya udah nggak ada Indo Club lagi sih yang official. But if you guys do know anyone who's interested in opening PERMIAS or something, you can hit me up. Thank you.
Interesting fact, Miss.
All right. I guess I like dogs. I love dogs. So if you guys want to look at my dog, it's at mochi.silverpoodle on Instagram.
I
Thank
love
you. Nice to
jadi plug ya. Your dog.
Yeah.
And then terakhir ada Cika.
Hai semuanya, aku Cika dari PERMIAS Oregon State University. Sekarang jadi koordinator wilayah West Coast 3, ada Washington, Oregon, Montana, Wyoming, Alaska, and also IMAPA USA tergantung presidennya di mana. Kebetulan lagi di Oregon juga, jadi mencakup West Coast 3. Terus mungkin sama kayak Michelle, Montana, Wyoming, sama Alaska kebetulan belum ada PERMIAS yang official, jadi kalau misalnya kalian tahu, boleh kontak. Kita juga udah ada grup, jadi tinggal feel free to contact me.
Thank you.
Oh ya, interesting fact.
Oh, yeah.
Gak bisa belajar kalau belum sunset.
Kebalik ya. Alright, thank you guys.
Michelle, aku boleh nambahin nggak?
Oh ya, boleh, silakan.
Ya di Midwest 1 kan tadi aku bilang mencakup Kentucky ya. Cuman sama kayak teman-teman yang di West Coast, beberapa ada state Kentucky itu kita nggak tahu apakah ada Indonesian Student Club di sana. Jadi kalau misalnya ada teman yang ada info teman-teman di Kentucky mungkin bisa minta tolong dikasih tahu ke aku ya.
Ya, nanti presentasi ini kita share semua ke grup Dewan Perwakilan. Jadi kalau misalnya ada info yang dibutuhin bisa langsung refer ke situ, dan juga kalau misalnya kalian tahu ada teman-teman yang mau bikin organisasi atau belum masuk dalam grup-grup tersebut, kalian bisa langsung kontak ke koordinator wilayah masing-masing. Okay. I think kalau misalnya dari organizational development sama koordinator wilayah itu aja. We also have another department yang who are also here to support cabang-cabang. I think in terms of their premise of what they do, Bernard can take over and he's going to have a short presentation before we go to our Q&A and sharing session.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Hello, everybody. Thank you for the presentation. I think it was very informative and very comprehensive in what you guys went over. So this is a new department, Communications and Community Outreach, that was created by Alvin and Oro, and basically the directorship of PERMIAS Nasional not too long ago. It's a very unique department yang in my view, and I think in our view as a team, it has to be introduced properly to you guys, especially for its unique creation as well. Next slide, please, Michelle. So the team. Yeah. So this is the team. I'm the director of the Communications and Community Outreach team, or CCO. We have Nadine. I think she goes to Claremont McKenna in Southern California. Tiffany Satyadharma goes to school in Boston. Arik also is in my team too. President of PERMIAS DC goes to University of Maryland. Natasha Jung goes to UCLA. Adika also in this meeting as somebody from studying in San Diego as well. Selma from Wisconsin-Madison. There's Latisa as well. Latisa is also part of our team. Was Corwheel for East Coast, I think East Coast 2 kalau nggak salah. Latisa goes to school at NYU. Kenneth Teddy is also in my team. He goes to Boston. Nicholas is here as well. Nick, Wisconsin-Madison too. I think he introduced himself. We have Kyla, who's in Honolulu right now. I have Kiara, who goes to school in Boston. So that's the whole team. And yeah, that's the team for now. Next slide, please. So initiatives. So because we are still new, we have a collaborative mentorship program in the works right now. That's not yet released yet, still in the works, but we're bound to release this in like a couple of weeks. So that's one of our first programs. We have a few collaborations with PERMIAS Chabangs that are in the works, as well as roadshow check-ins that we're doing, that we're going to do, which is the communications aspect of our department, and check-ins with a lot of the other Chabangs here. Hence why I'm here to present this to you, as well as charity partnerships that are in still in progress and still in the works. Now, it sounds all jumbled up and complicated, but I think the next slide, I think I'll be able to explain further what we are. So we are responsible for addressing student needs from an individual, school, and city level. So basically, this is the communications aspect of CCO, right? Communications, community outreach. So the communications is that we open a line of communication to micro communities, let's say in East Coast, in Midwest, even down to cities like in LA, in San Francisco, and a lot of these other cities. So the team, we have a portion of the team dedicated to addressing individual and micro community needs in the school city level. So they're responsible for understanding dinamikanya apa aja. Kalau di NYC kan beda sama kalau yang di LA. So like that's something we have to address as well. What's lacking in Seattle? What's lacking in Midwest? What's lacking in the South? And that's what a portion of the team is dedicated to. So we have that, and we are, and because of that, I'm going to jump a bit to the third point, which is responding to crisis and exigent affairs deemed significant. Basically, it means that portion is responsible for responding to a crisis, right? So let's say knock on wood, right? Knock on wood that there's like something bad happens mungkin di kota New York, right? Let's see where I'm from, right? Or from SF. Let's say there's ada shooting misalnya kan. We want to know are people safe there? And especially kalau mahasiswa Indonesia, mahasiswa WNI, we're there to respond to things like that and to give you guys updates on that. I think yang Korwil, I think you guys already know that I've opened a line of communication, especially when it came to travel restrictions and when that was still hazy a few months ago. Now that's the communications aspect. Now the second point is being the central department responsible for collaborations with charities and other student-led organizations. That's the community outreach part. The community outreach is going beyond, of course, going beyond our inner group, our inner circle, and reaching across to other organizations that are non-PERMIAS related, maybe even non-US student-led, So that's what we're supposed to. That's what we're also geared to do, and we have partnerships like the mentorship collaboration that we're doing. That's something that's community outreach focused, and we might do something that's professional development related. We might do something that's tied to a particular charity, right? A particular charity, a particular nonprofit, run by alumni, or maybe run by an organization that's already an established organization in Indonesia. So it really depends, and it really is it really varies in terms of who we do it with. Tapi that's also one of our functions as well. Is collaborations with other charities and student-led organizations. Next slide, please. So why collaboration? Like what is this to really just get down on the community outreach aspect of why we exist. So the first would be the collaboration is used to sort of marry the components within cities and schools in PERMIAS Nasional, because as I like to say, PERMIAS Nasional is composed of a lot of city schools and tabang. You guys here in this call, right? So what we're trying to do also is to look at try to understand permias yang mana yang cocok untuk this particular collaboration, or what makes sense for us to do that would heighten the collaboration di cabang-cabang and really just empower you guys to start a program, start a project, be supported by us to do a particular project. We want to see if there is anything that is any sort of diverse opportunities that we can do, that we can create and make for you guys, especially. Now, this also means that we're also going to be we're also going to be splitting duties. So that is definitely something that is going to be discussed internally when we support you guys in terms of assisting you guys collaborate with either us or other tabangs as well. So that's something that's important. So the second point being cooperation. I think this is more of an internal matter, right? We want to see. We also want to help you guys understand your team dynamics really well, right? We want to help understand if we're bringing in an external partner, we want to understand what their team dynamics are like and how you guys can work together, and we can help advise you guys to do that, right? So it's a lot of, so if you can kind of tell, this is a huge advisory role for us. I think that's one big word we can use for to describe CCO, is that it's big on it's advisory work for you guys as Permias Cabang. Now, the last point being coordination is we want to make sure that the collective, these events are collective first, and secondly, we want to make sure that the scheduling and timing is correct. Right, we want to be able to coordinate with other chabangs in terms of what we in terms of what kind of events or initiatives or programs that we do. Hence, I think OrgDev created a either OrgDev or publications. The publications team of National created a schedule for all the chabangs' events, right? So those are, that probably summarizes the sort of deep level, the deep layers of community outreach. So the next sort of cycle that I think I'd like to use to back again, Michelle, please, thank you. So the cycle that I like to use to describe how we work in the overall communications and community outreach team are these sort of, again, 4 values. Again, you see the collaboration there as well. But let's start with focusing, right? So I think it's what from our advisory work for you guys, what we're supposed to do is help find the best person for the best role within a particular project or in a particular initiative, right? So I think what we can help with is understanding and coming into terms with what your Permias Cabang needs right now, I think. So I think there's this level of focus that we'll bring with you guys. So I'll just, I think, just to bring in an example, NYC, Permias NYC is very professional development driven. And we have a lot of anak-anak S2 and anak-anak S1 that are ambitious. So that's the focus that we have, right? And that's and from PERMIAS Nasional or from the CCO team, what we're supposed to do is understand that and provide the resources for that. Right? So the first value, of course, is focus, right? To not biar kita nggak kemana-mana, like partnershipnya jelas, projectnya jelas, inisiatifnya jelas, why it's there and how it's going to be executed itu jelas, and outcome-nya itu jelas ada dan dampaknya is well understood as well. So that's the focus aspect. Now the socialized aspect is we have to understand that we are an organization that's a youth makeup, basically. We're all made up of young people and young individuals, right? So I like to describe, kalau di Permias NYC, I like to describe it as a separation between professional socializing and recreational socializing. Kan kayaknya kalau yang dibilang sama Hanif yang lalu itu, basically guys, yang dibilang sama Hanif not too long ago, kalau mau the recreational aspect, kalau mau cari jodoh boleh juga. That's socializing. Terus terang kan. So there's that recreational aspect, boleh gitu kan. Tapi we want to also have that recreational aspect that's cocok buat undergrads. That's because undergrads are the body of students that appreciate the recreational side of college life a bit more. And I think that's something that I understood in PERMIAS NYC for a while, that there was too many professional development events to a point where there was no socializing events as well. And particularly with freshmen, we have to understand that the first years, they want to get used to college life quite easily. So basically, it would be good for us to, good for you guys to understand that, and for us to help you in terms of, not only the focusing on what kind of recreational activities you guys might want to do, but also helping the first years transition into college life. So that's a socializing aspect, right? We're a social organization as well. The other aspect is learning. Now, this is something that I think, especially for undergrads, undergrads, it's important for us to understand, to learn how can we learn from PERMIAS, gitu. PERMIAS sebagai organisasi. Now, I had an argument with my friend, I think a year ago. Yang dia bilang itu PERMIAS itu kayak Stukon for student council, ya. That is false. Student council is different from PERMIAS. PERMIAS is almost like an Indonesian. It's an Indonesian representational organization, and di mana you guys can learn cara berorganisasi. It's a very Indonesian thing, right? Berorganisasi. Bagaimana kita bisa berorganisasi is basically, long story short, is basically an organization driven on a bunch of values, right? But we're also with that representational umbrella, is under the representational umbrella as well, right? So values kita apa aja? Mungkin skill building sebagai anak muda, sebagai mahasiswa. And how can you transition into how can you transition into the professional life, the academic life? And how can you transition to becoming a grad student, right? If you're into academic and research, skill building for the workforce. Kalau mau masuk, kalau mau OPT, if you want to get into banking, you want to get into finance, you want to get into consulting, if you want to get in nonprofit and social work. So that's why I like using that. That's why I like using that professional and recreational separation, and those are our values. Now, cara kita berorganisasi itu is how can we drive those forward with? Can you go back, Mish? Thank you. How can you go forward with that? Now, the other aspect I'd like to say about learning, is that setiap PERMIAS itu beda. There might be a PERMIAS di mana webinar nggak cocok sama your student body. People don't like watching it. There might be an instance where, let's say, house parties don't work. Kan? Kalau di LA house parties work. Kalau di NYC beda. So like you have these other kayak you have to harus jago baca your population as well in terms of what works and what doesn't. And you have to learn and relationship building is another thing. And collaboration is something that I touched on as well. So next slide, please, Mish. So I think what's important to understand is that kalau nasional dari kita, and especially from CCO, Community Outreach Team, is that we're supplementary and complementary. We're not a directive organization where we impose on you to do something. Nggak. Kita itu, we're just here to support you guys. It's a collaborative effort. Kalau ada, as I mentioned before, kalau ada bantuan yang you guys need, reach out to us, for sure, to me or to any one of us, if you have any proposals or suggestions or opinions on us. Now, the clock means you have to get help quick, right? Don't procrastinate. And especially, time goes really fast, and you might need to get help quick. Next slide, please. Is this the end? Can we go back, please? So who can you reach out to? You can reach out to other, so I would say start by reaching out to other cabang presidents or vice presidents, especially those that are that are close to you guys. Kalau satu wilayah, reach out to your Korwil or reach out to us. Right? I think we have a number of our members here. Phone numbers put Adika, Arik, Kyla, Nick, and Salma. I think that's all I have for you guys. Sorry if it was a long presentation, but I think it was. I think the comprehensiveness was necessary, and but I hope you guys get to understand CCO and reach out to me if you have any more questions or if you have any proposals or suggestions. Take it away, Michelle. Go ahead.
All right, thank you so much, Bern, for the presentation and introduction to CCO team. Definitely reach out to them kalau misalnya kalian mau ada collab. Ini I'm gonna go back to normal sharing screen as we'll start kayak our sharing session. Okay, now I'm on gallery view. Okay, thank you so much for everyone who presented, yang udah datang juga. Sekarang kita ke sharing session yang mungkin kalian ada some concerns atau you can share your experience about cabang transitions, especially it's about to go on right now, or maybe some funny stories. I know I've heard a few yang tiba-tiba cuma ditinggalin blek kerjaannya gitu aja, terus nggak tahu mau ngapain. And I know ada juga different stories for smaller PERMIAS cabang yang I think we should also discuss, yang mereka juga nyari new recruits atau new membersnya, even in that process itu agak susah. So if anyone wants to start, tapi kalau misalnya nggak ada yang mulai, mungkin aku bisa invite a few personally langsung ke atas. Mungkin dari Pierre mau share about you, Mitch, ceritanya gimana, atau dari Harun kali?
Bang Pierre aja, Bang Pierre. Pak Presiden, monggo.
Thank you Email, Violin, sama Hanif buat presentationnya. I think for you, Mitch, karena kita pretty small community, jadi to run all of the steps is kind of difficult for us because syukur-syukur ada yang daftar gitu. Jadi kalau kita open recruitment terus ada yang daftar, kita kayak yes, akhirnya ada yang daftar gitu. Finally ada yang mau join. So I think mungkin kita caranya lebih ke personal invitation gitu, kayak kita kompor-komporin lah student yang ada di sini buat ayo ikut, ayo daftar gitu. Terus ini bagus buat organization. Jadi apa yang kita lakukan adalah we just tell them about the importance of masuk dalam organisasi dan bagaimana to run event, bagaimana to communicate sama others people, terus kayak bagaimana untuk kerjasama dengan PERMIAS chapter yang lain. Jadi hal-hal ini yang kita encourage buat mereka, biar mereka kalau mau belajar they can just join PERMIAS. So I think mungkin teman-teman yang PERMIAS chapternya juga smaller community bisa sharing juga bagaimana kalian untuk rekrut next pengurus gitu, biar nggak mati atau biar tetap run. Oh ya, in terms of number kita saat ini sekitar 30 sampai 40 orang.
Ya, mungkin aku ngeliat Cika baru nyalain kameranya, mungkin kalau ada yang mau di-share.
Untuk recruitment-nya ya?
Yes.
Kalau misalnya di PERMIAS OSU biasanya sih dipilihnya tuh pertama presidennya dulu. Jadi jadi ntar sekitar kan kita selesai tuh summer ya, Juni gitu. Jadi sekitar April itu awal-awal spring udah mulai ngomong-ngomong kalau misalnya mau jadi presiden siapa gitu kan. Terus dari presidennya berarti dari akunya ntar itu bikin kayak Google Form gitu untuk daftar siapa yang mau jadi presiden. Nah ntar maybe like third week of spring itu bikin kayak debat gitu for public. Jadi semua orang bisa nonton untuk kandidat-kandidat presidennya, debat, terus ada Q&A juga, semua orang boleh nanya. Nah setelah dari situ kalau udah kepilih itu udah terserah presidennya gitu mau gimana caranya untuk rekrut officer-officer ntar ya. Gitu sih.
Got it. Jadi recruitmentnya from presidennya dari in-house gitu ya?
Iya.
Anyone else yang mau share experience mereka kayak about recruitment atau board transition? Mungkin dari other small permiases atau dari Adika kalau UCSD gimana prosesnya and like
waktu itu di UCSD gue for the president and the vice president we send in our like letter of interest on why we want to be the P or PP. But for the other members, they just apply and then they interview and then they compete with other members. But for the president and the vice president, we have to send in an essay and then we have like a case challenge. So like it's harder to be the P or BP. But in general, it's not like we elect someone or anything. So yeah.
jadi it's like more of like choosing from within the team gitu ya?
Yeah, it's like internally. It's like internal intinya.
Got it.
We never tried external, so like I don't think a lot of people would vote from SD ya.
Yeah, I think buat each permiases beda-beda sendiri ya kayak apa depending on how close the community is.
Iya.
Gimana? Kalau misalnya mungkin dari Fahmi mau sharing?
Oh, halo. Kalau di Michigan State itu tadi sistemnya mirip banget sama yang ini ya, yang Cika punya. Jadi kita pertama fokusnya ke president election-nya dulu. Jadi kayak kita sebulan dikasih waktu buat open recruitment, terus habis itu bakal dikenalin ke public, and then we're gonna have our open debate. Jadi kayak all students and community around East Lansing area are open to come and ask some questions to the candidates. Jadi situ udah nyampein visi misi program and so on. Terus habis itu pilih presiden. Nah dari presiden itu yaudah nanti previous president will pass on all the documents to the current president. Terus kalau kemarin aku kasusnya banyak inisiatif nanya sih ke presiden sebelumnya kayak because I was new in the community, so I was asking about each person in the community karena kita di MSU cuman 30-40 orang juga, size-nya mirip sama Michigan. Jadi aku literally nanya orang per orang kira-kira dari yang ada sekarang itu yang bisa lanjut buat the new administration itu siapa kira-kira. Jadi kemarin sih udah consider aja dari previous president. Terus habis itu udah ada beberapa nama kandidat, aku langsung approach by person sih. Jadi kemarin aku langsung ini aja, tanyain satu-satu, langsung dikasih tahu sih, I want you to be in such position. Terus aku kasih tahu juga sih, there are some positions that we need. Habis itu yaudah kalau misalnya dia mau ambil position itu, so it's a yes, langsung lanjut. Kalau misalnya dia mau bargaining, misalnya dia mau ambil position lain, kita discuss juga. Jadi it's pretty personal sih kalau di MSU karena it's just a small size community, jadi lebih enak buat approach-nya. Habis itu udah, jadi kemarin itu aku kayak cuman 2-3 minggu e-boardnya udah jadi, kita langsung rilis, udah terus jalan. Nah untuk sekarang, kandidat presidennya udah ada kayak cuman 2 orang juga kayak kemarin, but we do really have our strong favorite karena kita lihat emang performnya yang bagus dan inisiatifnya ada kayak gitu kan. Jadi untuk yang sekarang udah di keep dulu nama-namanya. Terus sekarang kita lebih fokus ke bikin SOP sih. Jadi kayak during the current administration kita ngapain aja, kita bikin SOP. Jadi misalnya kita ada program podcast, kita bikin SOP-nya how to run the podcast, how to pick the ideas, and then what software that we use for the post editing, and so on. Terus event-event yang lain juga kita bikinin SOP, termasuk media sosial kayak username, password, and so on. Jadi nanti pas the next administration is chosen, kita tinggal udah ngasih satu folder isinya SOP. Kalau mereka mau lanjut programnya, go ahead, they already had the SOP. Kalau misalnya mereka mau bikin baru lagi, it's up to them. Jadi it's pretty simple sih kalau di MSU. Jadi kayak buat teman-teman yang yang permiasnya mungkin kayak smaller size juga atau yang baru running, mungkin bisa kayak gitu juga sih cara rekrutmennya. So ya. Yeah.
keren sih tuh ada SOP-nya buat transisi biar kayak the next president atau whoever's running mereka udah ada reference kebalik dari satu dokumennya gitu ya.
Iya, right, benar banget kayak gitu.
Ya mungkin one of the initiatives yang kita mau give kalau helpful buat kalian, ini kalian bisa jawab di chat aja mau atau enggak, itu kayak standard format buat SOP, isi-isinya apa aja. Mungkin ntar aku WA lo ya Fahmi, kayak SOP-nya isinya apa aja and what we can include. We already had a couple ideas, tapi mungkin that document might be useful. Mungkin gak bantu nggak kayak gitu?
Ya bisa banget. Sip. Jarpi aja.
And then I think Audrey ada question di chat. Kalau untuk PERMIAS Kansas, it's super hard to recruit people for positions from other schools but KU. Ada member mau tapi nggak mau jadi exec. Engaging-nya gimana? Enaknya biar our PERMIAS scope and exec-nya juga lebih diverse antar sekolah. Ada yang mau punya feedback nggak buat itu?
I mean, I think kayaknya the best way is for people to reach out personally aja sih. Kayak don't make it to like a big thing, make it more personal to the individual, make them feel like, hey, look, kayak I know you're Indo, kayak you've been here a while, kayak if you're interested, kayak we can give you this experience, gitu aja sih.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Kayaknya aku ngeliat berapa nods yang agree juga dari Pierre. That's what everything, and we can tailor it to each of our own orgs. Okay, thank you, Mike. Great to hear that. And then I think Audrey, one case that we've had to deal with, specific PERMIAS, in terms of di state-nya itu kind of dominated by one of these schools, tapi di sekolah-sekolah lainnya tuh nggak gitu ada. Jadi kadang sekolah-sekolah lain itu agak ngerasa kayak agak awkward lah gitu kalau misalnya with the other schools mungkin nggak gitu deket. So I think benar sih ya, personally outreach ke mereka karena emang in some states ada beberapa sekolah yang jauh lebih gede in numbers dibanding yang lain. Udah di PC sih yang satu-satu bisa, tapi memang jumlahnya sedikit karena memang dominated by Kebanting sama KU. Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think another solution might be like giving them more of like, I guess like the Korwil atau outreach person for their school, so at least you have them sort of like communicating anything from their school. Jadi nggak usah like a big kind of like board position, if that makes sense.
Michelle, I have something to add about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
When it comes to a dominant school, and nanti gue mungkin ngobrol-ngobrol tentang NYC sendiri when it comes to like that. So I think for a while, Columbia grad students have been the one dominating PERMIAS NYC for a long time, long time. Anak-anak S2 dari Columbia, and then specifically there's this whole dynamics of the push and pull away from undergrads and grad students yang I think a number of us know. Alvin juga tahu, and a few of our NYC members also know this. Tapi salah satu solusi for that, I think, is from an internal perspective, and I think this applies to a lot of PERMIAS, especially PERMIAS wilayah ya, PERMIAS NYC atau PERMIAS LA atau PERMIAS kota-kota. So I think what's good is to have an outreach department. The NYC kita ada outreach department. Seth is here, Sarah Fino Gonta. She's our co-head of outreach at PERMIAS NYC, and the job description is basically to ensure that dari semua sekolah-sekolah yang ada di kota New York, for my case, itu ada representatifnya. Dan what we're doing right now is kita lagi ngebuatin di NYC, kita lagi ngebuatin dan lagi mau disahin our ADART PERMIAS NYC. And how did we do that in a democratic way? Ya, kita we are recruiting two students per school. Mau sekolah gede, mau sekolah kecil, harus ada dua. Biar mereka terdengar gitu. And so we have that expanse of representatives. And if you guys know, if you take U.S. government, the way I say it, the way my I think Bat Niken, the vice president, who's a Columbia grad student, I think I said, look, it's like in the U.S. kalau there's two senators per state kayak gitu, to make sure that everybody itu terdengar gitu. So there's that aspect too, and it's my responsibility and me and Bat Niken's responsibility to call them to call them to come on a Zoom call to discuss what are the issues. And for this issue, we have pengesahan ADART, which is going to take place next week. And the revision of that is comprehensive, and we've involved Nasional juga to look into that. So there's this whole when it comes to representationalness, and when it comes to, as you mentioned tadi, Arju, when it comes to execs, right, getting people involved, and it's hard. It's hard to get them involved. I think that's one step. One step is to biar ada perwakilan per sekolah dalam kotanya sendiri atau state-nya sendiri. Itu I think it's they don't even have to have a director of finance, director of events, tapi at least they're in the circle. Mereka itu merasa mereka itu terlibat gitu, right? Like I said, like I think we have to understand that there's a camaraderie. Ada relasi yang harus dibangun dulu, baru kita bisa kerja. Then sometimes, arguably, Otto is not here. Otto, the vice president of external, but me and Otto agree bahwa we have to put social relationships di atas hasil dan produknya sendiri. Jadi, because in the end of the day kita masih muda dan kita ini masih ini networking informal lah. Gitu. Dan it's these informal relationships that actually wind up lasting. And, oh, gue kenal si ini dari PERMIAS dulu. Oh, kita kan kenalan dari PERMIAS. So it's like that. We want to build relationships that way first. And back to your point, I think that's a good step for you to take. The representational dan perwakilan per school idea.
Yeah, I really like the idea. I think one point to add juga, if you guys emang benar-benar udah coba all the solutions and emang masih struggling, feel free to set up a meeting with organizational development to really set out specific actions atau kayak, like program that we can do in order to help you guys with whatever, I guess, like conflict or problem you guys are facing, because that's what our department is here for. I think since we're like udah midnight lebih ya kalau buat anak-anak yang di Indo, tapi masih pagi buat anak-anak yang di US. But mungkin ada 1 atau 2 orang lagi yang mau sharing. Aku open the floor. Abis itu nanti kita bisa closing. Kalau misalnya nggak ada yang mau sharing, I can call out one more person. Kalau nggak, anyone want to share experience mereka? Atau mungkin ini bisa open the floor. What do you think of the presentation? What resources we can give you? Atau misalnya buat next, apalagi topik yang mau dibahas selain yang kalian udah list out last time. Boleh di chat juga kalau mau ada feedback buat itu. Oke, jadi mungkin feedback yang we're getting itu banyak yang next meeting maybe we can talk about kayak malah attracting atau engaging people to recruit as a member dan juga as a pengurus ya, karena masih ada banyak, I guess, like struggle-nya with that gitu. I guess that's great feedback. Bern, kalau misalnya you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to share something that's a story that I don't think a lot of, even the CCO team that I work with, I don't think you guys know this. So just to say that, I think the point is every PERMIAS itu beda. Gitu. Every PERMIAS itu ada their own challenges to go through, their own cross to bear lah. And so they have their own stresses, they have their own different challenges. So I think that's seeing for what I have from my notes. Yeah. I think that's all I have to mention from my end.
Great.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sampai story-nya ada art-nya ya. Ini I think buat sharing session itu that's a good end note. Banyak banget yang gue ngeliat tadi engage katanya pas Bernard banting meja ya.
Nah, itu don't be like that itu. Don't.
Jangan bawa emosi ya.
Jadi itu sisi Manado gue itu keluar waktu itu. Udah kayak kemasukan gue tadi.
I think Alvin has a few some notes.
Right.
Ntar gue bisa close out this meeting.
Udah nggak ada lagi yang mau bahas, yang mau kasih sharing?
Okay, kalau nggak ada, so I'll just add some. First one, I would like to thank our dev team for working so hard untuk event ini. Thank you udah bisa ngumpulin Permias cabang semuanya. Buat teman-teman Permias cabang juga thank you banget udah datang dan udah luangin waktunya. Thank you juga buat tim CCO. So we welcome our new team. Dan ini emang fokus untuk difokuskan untuk menjangkau segala sesuatu yang sifatnya belum tercover oleh Permias Nasional. Jadi contohnya misalnya yang tadi announcement, terus misalnya kalian mau engage sama NGO di luar sana, itu kita udah punya satu divisi khusus yang untuk ngurusin ini. Oke, dari workshop ini saya cuma pesan satu hal. Yang pertama, ada dua sih sebenarnya. Yang pertama, sebagai Permias, kita harus fokus sama inclusivity. So one of my goal this year is about inclusivity. Nggak ada lagi cerita di mana Permias tuh hanya bunch of anak undergrads tanpa anak grads. Nggak, atau sebaliknya gitu. Karena kita bisa belajar dari pengalaman yang paling nyata itu New York, gimana pada saat itu sulit sekali New York City itu menggabungkan anak-anak undergrads dengan graduate. You know, ketika kabinetnya yang pegang adalah anak grads, anak undergrads-nya hilang. Ketika kabinet yang pegang anak undergrads, grad-nya hilang. Tapi I'm very proud of Bernard, dia bisa gabungin undergrads and grads secara langsung, gitu loh. Jadi I completely support kalau di cabang lain juga bisa dibuat hal yang sama seperti ini. I know Cika juga punya anggota yang dari grad students. I know Mas Faisal sama Dipta lagi mencoba untuk menggabungkan dan menghidupkan kembali Central Florida. Tolong terus diupayakan seperti ini karena again Permias itu adalah Indonesian Students Associations. Kita nggak lihat are you grad or undergrad, but again the point here is if you're saying that you're Indonesian, then you also a member of Permias. Jadi buat teman-teman yang tadi bertanya bagaimana untuk dapetin member, sebenarnya simple. Ketika lu datang dan lu bilang lu anak Indonesia, lu udah membernya Permias. Tapi sekarang adalah gimana supaya boardnya dari setiap cabang punya harus punya effort lebih untuk lebih ngajakin, lebih gabungin, dan I think it's like a part of our discussion di previous workshop. Jadi kalau yang mungkin belum ikut workshop sebelumnya bisa untuk tanya sama teman-teman ArcDev. Mungkin nanti drive-nya bisa diupload ulang, Michelle.
Ada di
dibagi
YouTube.
ke teman-teman.
Ada di YouTube Permias Nasional.
Right, atau bisa juga di YouTube ya, cek di YouTube Permias Nasional. Ya, itu aja. Dan yang kedua adalah masalah independensi dari setiap organisasi Permias. So Permias itu adalah, saya ingatkan kembali bahwa Permias adalah organisasi yang independen. Kita nggak tergantung sama siapa-siapa, but we can make partnership with everyone we want. Jadi setiap cabang mau punya event, mau punya kerjasama dengan yang mana-mana, kita sangat terbuka untuk itu, gitu ya. Dan untuk teman-teman Permias yang masih bingung untuk gimana engage dengan anggotanya, atau mungkin kalian merasa resource-nya masih kurang karena mungkin jumlah anggotanya tidak terlalu banyak, come on, saya mendorong atau merekomendasikan teman-teman dari cabang untuk belajar sama Midwest, gitu ya. Karena so far sejauh ini Permias Midwest itu menunjukkan performance untuk bikin kolaborasi, dan ini saya nggak main-main. Kemarin saya baru membaca dua proposal dari Midwest untuk events. Itu luar biasa banget. Yang sign itu presidennya 9. Can you imagine 9 presidents become one, and then 9 chapters become one, terus mereka siapin sebuah acara, 10 actually, sorry Nick. Thank you for fixing me. Ya, 10, I saw that. 10 tanda tangan jadi satu. Mereka bikin acara bareng-bareng, dan mungkin teman-teman Permias cabang lain yang masih bingung untuk kegiatan apapun bisa di-joinin nih. Jadi maybe next time kita bisa denger sharing dari Midwest gitu ya. Terus kita juga, saya setuju dengan yang tadi dibilang Robert sama Michelle bahwa setiap Permias cabang punya color-nya masing-masing. So I know that Northeast itu lebih banyak ke professional development. Meanwhile, Midwest itu mainnya di friendship-nya yang diperkuat. Di sisi lain, saya juga menyadari bahwa ternyata West Coast itu punya kekuatan di social engagement. Mereka mulai untuk charity project nih. Kemarin saya juga ngecek, Cika baru cerita, ini ada ngumpulin project dan sebagainya. Jadi please diperkuat. Sedangkan Southern itu pelan-pelan karena jumlah mahasiswanya paling dikit, tapi we're surely getting there gitu ya. Southern pelan-pelan kita akan mulai banyak establish cabang di Southwest nih mulai bulan ini. Kemarin baru Atlanta. By the end of this month, kalau teman-teman ada waktu, please come and also support the establishment of Pensacola itu di Western Florida ya, berbatasan dengan Alabama. Terus ada Central Florida dalam waktu dekat, menyusul North Carolina, itu sebenarnya East Coast 3. Jadi please come and support cabang-cabang baru ini supaya mereka juga bisa bertumbuh bersama-sama dengan kalian semua. Because that's the essence of PERMIAS. We're not going to leave everyone behind. Ya, kalau dulu PERMIAS Nasional, mungkin PERMIAS Nasional atau PERMIAS cabangnya nggak aktif, sekarang kita coba untuk buat aktif lagi. Tapi kalaupun sudah aktif, tolong dijaga supaya nggak ketinggalan. Oke? Saya rasa itu aja dari saya. So have a good weekend deh kalau gitu ya. Thank you guys.
Satu lagi, bentar. Sorry guys, just hold off. Tolong nyalain kameranya semua ya. Aku boleh minta screenshot buat PNP team biar kita bisa sharing our amazing session today. Jadi mohon kameranya dinyalain. Aku screenshot dulu.
One last point. Midwest, we're gonna engage you guys soon, yeah.
Iya, congrats to Midwest by the way. Oke, aku screenshot ya. 1, 2. Oke. One more. 1, 2, 3. Alright, thank you so much guys semuanya untuk udah datang. See you guys again in the next workshop series. Yeah, you guys have a good night and good day for in the US. Alright, bye everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yuk.